Jeffrey Epstein's connection to Donald Trump and Bill Clinton explained.
Whoa.
So you guys, I'm sure you guys know about the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking charges.
Hey,
I
diddle.
actually just learned about the scope of it. I'd heard him referenced as a sex trafficker before, but I didn't know that it had blown up until
Right, he got in a little trouble in 2002 I think it was.
But he got out of it.
Over it, but he got a little slap on the wrist because I guess it's no big deal if you're a billionaire.
Because he's rich.
Yeah, he's super rich and also super well connected.
Right.
But now he's it looks like he's getting in yet more trouble, and a lot of people are more interested in the people that are around him that could potentially maybe be implicated. So the two big names, of course, are current President Donald Trump and former President Bill Clinton. So
I read Bill Clinton's statement. He released a very weird listing of every time he ever met with Epstein.
That statement doesn't really hold up to fact-checking scrutiny, unfortunately, for him.
You know what he needs to do?
Hear that.
He needs to fucking call William Shatner and get the I don't know the man thing. I
don't know the man.
I saw him.
I don't know the man.
He might have been there when I was there.
So let's first talk about Trump's connection to Epstein.
You're just gonna love how the media just reaches for the shit.
In 2002, Trump said this: "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life."
That's pretty unambiguous.
Yeah. So Trump praised Epstein, dated their social relationship as beginning around 1987, said they shared a taste for beautiful women, and specifically noted that Epstein liked women on the younger side.
Thank you for that. Why did?
Yeah, because we needed you to fucking.
It was pretty blunt.
So here's since Epstein's legal troubles became known, Trump's attorneys have tried to downplay his association with Epstein. Obviously, he had no relationship with Mr. Epstein, had no knowledge whatsoever of his conduct. Trump lawyer Alan Garten told Politico in 2017.
That's weird that he would
kind of
say
counters
that.
what Trump said earlier. But Trump now realizes that that's going too far. So now Trump is saying, I knew him like everybody in Palm Beach knew him.
Okay.
I had a falling out with him a long time ago. I don't think I've spoken to him for 15 years. I wasn't a fan.
Trump
wasn't a fan.
Well, I mean, you said he was a terrific guy.
Really fun to be with.
And that he's fun to be with before. So
here's this.
Sounds like you were a fan.
So media reports from the late 1990s and early 2000s frequently mentioned Trump attending Epstein-hosted social events.
Mm-hmm. Trump called Epstein twice in November 2004, which I think is after the stuff. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be I could be getting my dates wrong there. I'm saying after Epstein was already charged the first time. But maybe I'm wrong on that. Several phone numbers for Trump, including an emergency contact and a number for Trump's security, were among many notable people's numbers listed in Epstein's black book, which was later obtained by the government.
Okay, that's kind of interesting.
Epstein's brother testified that Epstein once took Trump on one of his planes to go from Florida to New York, saying he thought it happened in the late 1990s. Trump is not known to have taken any other flights on Epstein's planes. Epstein was a frequent visitor to Trump's Mar-a-Lago golf club. However, after Epstein's plea deal with the government, the New York Times quoted an anonymous Mar-a-Lago source claiming Epstein had been banned from the resort for making sexual advances to a masseuse. So the other thing with the Trump connection is that Trump has a... Where is it? Now, there was some... I guess we could talk about this Katie Johnson lawsuit. A lot of people have dismissed this as being completely bogus, including many in the mainstream media. But now, obviously, this has come to light. This is getting renewed attention. There was a lawsuit from an anonymous woman in 2016 claiming that in 1994, Trump had violently raped her at an orgy hosted by Epstein, when she was 13 at the time. She accused Epstein of raping her as well. She first filed in California under the name Katie Johnson, and when it was thrown out for technical reasons, she filed in New York under Jane Doe. But many journalists were wary about this claim. There was no corroborating evidence offered except for an affidavit from two anonymous people claiming to have been told of or witnessing it. And the suit appeared to have been orchestrated by an eccentric anti-Trump campaigner with a record of making outlandish claims about celebrities. So I'm pretty sure we can kind of dismiss that, but... Epstein's connections. Well, before we get into Epstein's connections to Clinton, we should talk about the fact that one of the people that was involved in Epstein's lenient treatment when he was first caught was a dude. What's that dude's name, Scott? You know what I'm talking about? Acosta.
Yeah.
What's his first name?
Jim?
No,
No.
you're thinking of CNN.
That's a different Acosta.
There's like a guy that works in the Trump administration.
Trump, Acosta, Epstein.
Yeah,
I'll
look
pull
it up because there's a guy that works in the Trump administration that people were saying they should be fired. Like I remember Chuck Schumer. And a
Okay,
bunch
so
of-
Trump's current labor
That's who it is.
secretary, Acosta, defends role in Epstein plea deal, faults state prosecutors. So his labor secretary, Alexander Acosta, pushed back Wednesday against calls for him to step down over his past involvement in a plea deal for financier Jeffrey Epstein, who was charged in federal court this week with sex trafficking, saying his office fought for a tougher punishment after state prosecutors were ready to let him walk free. Facts are important and facts are being overlooked, he said at a press conference, giving his most detailed account to date of the 2008 deal. So yeah, Trump's labor secretary, a lot of people have said that he was part of the posse of people that basically made sure that Acosta only got a slap on the wrist. Obviously, he's now saying that wasn't him, and he was actually pushing for a tougher sentence.
seems far-fetched.
Who
A
knows?
little.
But
This millionaire who's totally politically connected, everyone just wants to see him go to prison. 'Cause I'm sure he's not he's not throwing lavish events and giving them money and shit.
his main thing was a financier. He was a financial advisor as
Oh
well.
yeah, he had no influence. Come on.
He contributed tons of money to political campaigns and stuff like that.
Most people that get
including maybe up
charged-
to $4 million to Bill Clinton.
Yeah, most people that get charged with these sort of serious offenses end up in federal prison. They don't fucking go
Yeah.
get probation and shit. Come on.
So let's go over to the conservative side to hear about, because obviously Vox is going to try to build the stronger case against Trump and make Clinton the
Of
afterthought.
course.
So let's go over to Fox News, where they're going to do the opposite. So investigative journalist Conchita Sarnoff said Monday that former President Bill Clinton isn't telling the truth when he says he knows nothing of the
don't
alleged
know the
crimes
man.
of Jeffrey Epstein. Sarnoff, who's the executive director of Alliance to Rescue Victims of Trafficking and the author of the book Traffic King, appeared on Fox News at night after an indictment alleging sex trafficking and sex trafficking conspiracy was unsealed Monday morning against Epstein, while Clinton's spokesman has issued a statement denying knowledge of Epstein's behavior. And that was the same statement you were talking about, Paul, where he was talking about, like, I've only been on
Right. I met him here. I had dinner with him at this event. We shook hands at this event. I went to his house one time for an event, and that was it.
Their relationship was a lot closer than that. So Clinton, meanwhile, said in a statement he knows nothing about the terrible crimes, insisting he took a total of 4 trips on Jeffrey's airplane in 2002 and 2003 while his Secret Service detail traveled with him, and only had brief meetings with Epstein. But Sarnoff, who first broke the Epstein story back in 2010, says the figure isn't accurate, claiming that Clinton was a guest on Epstein's planes many more times over a longer period. I know from pilot logs, and these are pilot logs that were written by different pilots at different times, that Clinton went and was a guest of Epstein's 27 times.
Right.
She said, adding that many of those times Clinton had his Secret Service with him, and many times he did not. Here's another quote. Almost every time that Clinton's name is on the pilot logs, there are underage girls, there are initials, and there are names of many, many girls on that private plane.
Oh shit!
Now, I don't know. I don't know if plane manifest
knows?
lists the age of people
I
on
don't
the plane.
I don't
but,
believe they do. I mean, maybe
but
they
maybe
do.
she
I'm not
figured,
sure.
maybe she
has
corroborated it
looked-
through
yeah,
other research.
Maybe
and
she
stuff.
has looked into it and found these girls and
Right.
found out what their age would have been at that time.
I'm not saying that's not true. I'm just saying I just don't know.
So I'm saying, sadly, that he is not telling the truth, she said. First of all, Gerald Lefcourt, who was one of Epstein's attorneys back during the original arrest and the original investigation, wrote a letter which has been made public. She added, in that letter, Gerald Lefcourt claims that Epstein was one of the original founders of Clinton Global Initiative. He gave President Clinton $4 million, according to a source that knows a story about that. Sarnoff said she requested interviews with Clinton about the matter, but he would not agree to talk to her. So, what is this right-wing smearing, or is this legitimate? And you could ask the same about the Trump stuff. It kind of seems like both of these guys are trying to
Distance
minimalize
themselves, yeah.
relationships that were much closer than they're indicating at this
Very
time.
calculated statements coming out of both of them.
Now, does that
and,
mean that either of them had anything to do with this underage sex trafficking bullshit? I don't know.
Innocent until proven guilty,
Right.
where I come from, but it's eyebrow raising to say
Sure.
the least.
It's not as cut and dry as obviously their statements make them out to be. Clearly,
I don't really know all of the particulars of what Epstein was charged with and all of that shit. So
Yeah.
I don't really know how long he's alleged to have, or now I guess convicted to.
Well, not
of doing.
convicted.
This
well, he was
guy,
convicted
this
before,
guy at least
but
had some
pretty
connection
much a slap on the wrist. But now he's
to
being
both
charged
Donald
again.
Trump and Bill Clinton.
Oh, so this is just starting.
Right.
See, here's the question.
This is just this new.
So he's under
this new-
arrest now,
yes.
right?
And there have been rumors that he is going to flip on people for a lighter sentence. So,
Dude, the question becomes, did somebody keep the books on all this shit?
he had a little black book.
Well, they might be
that
fucked.
has some
whoever's number is in that book.
There's
better
also
be shitting their pants.
There's
right now.
also a strong possibility that he filmed people having sex with these girls for blackmail and stuff.
Damn.
I mean, honestly, you would need something like that to really
Dude,
sink
this
someone
might
like
be-
Bill Clinton or Donald Trump.
This
I
might
think-
end up being a
if-
spicy meatball
if,
when it cracks open here.
You know, if he really has that much dirt on that many powerful people, I would expect that this story will suddenly dramatically vanish from the headlines, and
You think?
nothing further will.
In this
hear
day
of
and
it.
age, TJ, can you still bury something like this?
I think.
Hey, you know what?
You
You
can
did-
bury it in the mainstream
maybe that's
the
why he's
independent
being
media is not going to shut up about it.
Maybe
for
that's
sure.
why he's being indicted to begin with.
Hey, did you enjoy that fucking clip, you piece of shit? Well, guess what? We got a Patreon.
It's true.
YouTube doesn't pay us. In fact, we've been flagged as a hate speech channel. Do you feel like you just saw hate speech? Well, YouTube thinks you did.
I sure don't.
Yeah, I don't either. We might be hateful bastards, but I don't think we're hateful in that way.
And not we don't speak.
And guess
hate.
what? We want your money.
We kind of need it.
We actually, yeah, we do.
We kinda
That's a
need
better
your money.
word is need. Seriously, we try to do the most we can for our patrons. You can just ask anyone who's a patron. We have 4,500 or so of them, and they're in our comments all the time. You can just ask them outright, like, is it worth it? And they'll tell you it is. Links down below. Do it.